Henry II's family conflicts. Henry II of England's reign, 1154 to 1189, epitomized the paradox of medieval kingship, remarkable achievements in governance and territorial expansion shadowed by the relentless instability wrought by familial discord. His consolidation of the Angevin Empire remains a testament to his administrative acumen, yet the rebellions of his sons, Henry the Young King, Richard the Lionheart, Geoffrey, and John, alongside the calculated opposition of his queen, Eleanor of Aquitaine, undermined his rule and legacy. These conflicts were not confined to the private sphere, they became pivotal political crises that drained the crown's resources, fractured alliances, and catalyzed the eventual fragmentation of his empire. Let's critically examine the underlying causes, dynamics, and far-reaching consequences of these familial rebellions, illuminating the interplay between personal ambition and the structural vulnerabilities of dynastic rule. The revolts of Henry's sons. Henry the Young King, ambition without authority. Henry the Young King, the eldest of Henry II's surviving sons, occupies a singular place in the annals of medieval history as a crowned co-monarch who wielded no substantive power. In 1170, Henry II orchestrated the coronation of his son to secure the succession and reinforce dynastic stability. Yet this symbolic act of elevation masked a deeper structural flaw. Henry the Young King was granted neither autonomous lands nor the revenues necessary to sustain a court. This disjunction between his title and practical authority sowed the seeds of his rebellion. By 1173, these frustrations coalesced into open revolt. The young king allied with his brothers, Richard and Geoffrey, and sought support from Henry's enemies, including King Louis VII of France and discontented Anglo-Norman barons. The subsequent revolt of 1173 to 1174, though ultimately suppressed, exposed the tenuous balance underpinning the Angevin political order. Even after reconciliation, the young king's discontent persisted. He cultivated a following through lavish patronage of tournaments, casting himself as a charismatic alternative to his father's stern rule. His untimely death in 1183 curtailed his aspirations but exacerbated tensions among his surviving brothers, particularly between Richard and John, as the struggle for succession intensified. This death not only deprived the Angevin Empire of a potential unifying figure but also entrenched rivalries among the remaining heirs, whose ambitions became increasingly incompatible with shared governance. Richard the Lionheart, the calculating heir. Richard, Henry's second surviving son, is celebrated as a warrior king, yet his relationship with his father was marked by relentless ambition and antagonism. Richard's control over Aquitaine, inherited through Eleanor, became a focal point of friction. From an early age, Richard exhibited a fierce determination to assert his autonomy, aligning with his brothers during the revolt of 1173 to 1174 and engaging in military campaigns to quell unrest in his duchy. Richard's ambitions expanded beyond Aquitaine, culminating in his desire to lead a crusade. However, his insistence on securing his inheritance before embarking on this venture exacerbated tensions with Henry II. By the late 1180s, Richard's alliance with Philip II Augustus of France against his father marked a decisive shift. Together, they launched a coordinated campaign that forced Henry to capitulate in 1189. The betrayal by Richard, compounded by his martial prowess, dealt a crushing blow to Henry's authority and health. Richard's eventual ascension to the throne underscored his singular focus on personal advancement, a trait that made him both an indomitable leader and a source of instability within the Angevin polity. His interactions with Henry II revealed the inherent volatility of the Angevin inheritance structure, where overlapping claims and territorial ambitions clashed irreconcilably. Geoffrey of Brittany, the strategist of discord. Geoffrey, Henry's third son, distinguished himself as a shrewd and calculating political operator. As Duke of Brittany through his marriage to Constance, Geoffrey leveraged his position to challenge his father's authority and forge alliances with other discontented factions. Unlike his brothers, Geoffrey's rebellions were often indirect, characterized by strategic manipulations and opportunistic alignments rather than outright confrontation. His mastery of court politics and his ability to exploit rivalries within the Angevin Empire marked him as a uniquely destabilizing force. Geoffrey's untimely death in 1186 during a tournament deprived the Angevin Empire of one of its most enigmatic figures but left a complex legacy. His son, Arthur of Brittany, would later become a focal point of contention, particularly during the reign of John, perpetuating the familial discord that had plagued the Angevin dynasty. Geoffrey's death also destabilized Brittany, a critical region whose autonomy had been carefully negotiated within the Angevin framework, further complicating Henry II's efforts to maintain control. Geoffrey's political machinations, and the vacuum left by his death, highlighted the intricate balancing act required to govern an empire where familial loyalty was always contingent and precarious. John, the opportunist in waiting. John, the youngest of Henry's sons, emerged as both a beneficiary and an agent of the familial discord that defined the latter years of Henry's reign. Derisively nicknamed John Lackland due to his initial lack of territorial holdings, he was often overlooked in favor of his elder brothers. Yet John's political instincts and opportunism became increasingly evident as he matured. Initially loyal to his father, John's eventual defection to Richard and Philip's camp in 1189 dealt a devastating psychological blow to Henry. John's actions during these years foreshadowed the divisive and tumultuous reign that would follow his ascension. His shifting loyalties exemplified the broader disunity within the Angevin family, where personal ambition frequently eclipsed familial solidarity. John's betrayals, though politically expedient, further eroded Henry II's waning authority and underscored the fractious dynamics that plagued the dynasty. His rise to power, despite the betrayals of his formative years, demonstrated the persistence of familial ties as both a source of strength and instability within the Angevin political system. Eleanor of Aquitaine, matriarch and instigator. Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of the most formidable figures of the Middle Ages, played a central role in the familial conflicts that undermined Henry II's reign. Her marriage to Henry had initially bolstered the Angevin Empire, bringing the vast territories of Aquitaine under Henry's control. However, the relationship soured over time, driven by Henry's infidelities and Eleanor's determination to safeguard her own interests and those of her children. Eleanor's active support for her sons during the revolt of 1173 to 1174 marked a turning point. Her participation was not merely maternal but deeply political, rooted in her desire to ensure the autonomy of Aquitaine and the equitable distribution of power among her sons. Henry's response, her imprisonment for nearly 16 years, illustrated the gravity of her challenge to his authority. Yet, even in confinement, Eleanor remained a potent political force, maintaining correspondence with her sons and influencing events from afar. Following Henry's death in 1189, Eleanor emerged as a key supporter of Richard's reign, orchestrating his succession and managing the realm during his absence on crusade. Her resilience and political acumen underscore her pivotal role in shaping the Angevin dynasty. Eleanor's legacy as both instigator and stabilizer highlights the duality of her influence. She was simultaneously a source of rebellion and a linchpin of Angevin cohesion. Her actions encapsulated the complexities of medieval queenship, where influence often transcended formal power to shape the destinies of dynasties. The consequences for Henry II's reign and legacy. The family conflicts that characterized Henry II's reign had profound and far-reaching consequences. Militarily, the repeated rebellions necessitated extensive campaigns to suppress uprisings across England, Normandy, and Anjou, diverting resources from external threats and administrative reforms. The revolt of 1173 to 1174 alone stretched Henry's forces to their limits, exposing vulnerabilities that his rivals, particularly Louis VII and later Philip II Augustus, were quick to exploit. Politically, the betrayals by his sons eroded the king's authority, both within his family and among his vassals. The alliances forged between his sons and external enemies, notably the French crown, undermined the territorial integrity of the Angevin Empire. The loss of Normandy to Philip II in 1189, facilitated by Richard's rebellion, marked a critical turning point that foreshadowed the empire's eventual disintegration. On a personal level, these conflicts exacted a severe toll on Henry. The repeated betrayals, particularly by Richard and John, devastated him, contributing to his physical decline and embittering his final years. His death in 1189, reportedly lamenting his shame as a conquered king, epitomized the tragic trajectory of a ruler whose immense accomplishments were overshadowed by familial strife. In terms of legacy, Henry II's reign underscores the inherent tensions within the Angevin system of governance. His reliance on delegating authority to his sons and vassals created opportunities for rebellion and dissent. While his legal and administrative reforms endure as testaments to his vision, the familial discord that marred his reign serves as a cautionary tale about the vulnerabilities of dynastic politics. These conflicts not only destabilized his rule but also set the stage for the fragmentation of the Angevin Empire under his successors. The Angevin experience exemplifies the precarious balance between central authority and familial decentralization in medieval governance, a balance that Henry's successors would struggle to restore. Conclusion: Henry II's family conflicts were not mere domestic squabbles but defining episodes in the history of the Angevin Empire. The rebellions of his sons and the role of Eleanor of Aquitaine illustrate the intricate interplay of personal ambition, political necessity, and dynastic ambition that shaped medieval monarchy. These conflicts drained the crown's resources, destabilized the empire, and tarnished Henry's legacy. Yet they also offer enduring insights into the complexities of leadership and the perennial challenges of reconciling familial loyalty with the demands of power. Ultimately, the story of Henry II and his family is one of brilliance and tragedy, a poignant reflection of the human dimensions of medieval kingship, where the pursuit of power often came at the expense of unity and stability. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe to Medieval Chronicles 1066 for more journeys back to the Middle Ages. Stay curious.